All right, guys, we're here in teaching mode. We want to do some really amazing basket weave Galloon crosses, which I prefer over anything. So we're making a 3.5 inch cross. You may need to adjust how long you do your pieces of Galloon if you want a 4-inch cross or something bigger. But these are 3.5 inch crosses ending, okay? And so we have cut our strips into 8-inch pieces, and we're gonna mark our back. Now we put our Doofix Board and K on the back here and peeled it off. Let me show you what that is. Okay, Doofix Board and Fix, it's really nice. This is the 3/8 inch. It's got a adhesive on the back. You iron it on and then peel off your paper tape, and it's not sticky at all and just irons on. Just a really awesome project. So what we did is we said we want 3.5 inch crosses. So what is half of 3.5, which is 1 and 3/4. So we put our 1/2 inch point on 1 3/4. This is a Madame Sew hot hem ruler, and this thing's so cool. Okay, and so actually we did that backwards, didn't we? We did the other direction. So I like to put the we learned that if we put this upward, you can actually see it a little better. Okay, my friend Erin here did all of these. So really we're gonna create our mitered top, okay? And the nice thing about doing it with the back showing is that you can see if this bit here is straight. So now our point goes to the 3.5 inch mark, and we can see that our edge back here is straight, and then we're gonna iron that. And then we go to the other end and we do the same thing over here where we create our miter. Okay, and it hits the one. And then what you end up with, so we want to show Tony how to do this later, so we're not going to do that one. What we end up with is this. Okay, each piece being approximately 3.5 inches long. So we had to play with this a whole bunch to figure it out a minute ago, and so I'll probably have to play with it a bunch to do it again, but it's nice to see. So we have our stole bottom. This is a maniple bottom. Whatever you're going to be putting in, I measured out our 3.5. Obviously center is in here, somewhere in here. This is a heat erase pen. Center is somewhere in here, but that's not going to matter because I won't be able to see it to reference. So I did the dots on the edges so that I knew where to line each of my points up to when we get this thing put together. So now that we have these pieces, the only part that we ironed was that mitered top, because if you iron any of the rest, it's just all gonna stick together, and that's kind of a problem. Like, you want this sticky for when we apply it onto here. And then we have these open edges, so that's where it's gonna get a little tricky. I can't remember exactly how we did this, but we said we wanted the, so you're just gonna basket weave this thing until it does what you want it to do, man. That's like, that's all. Oh, I did it right the first time. Nice. How nice. Okay, so we want our little short pieces, our short edges, to go under a long edge. And same here, like this is gonna go under this long edge. Okay, so now that we have it like roughly basket weave together, like this, and if you feel like you need to trim this off, you can. Like if you don't like how long that back piece is, or you're finding you can't, you know, it's wanting to stick out on you when you iron it down, you can always trim those off a little shorter. But now that we've got it just roughly put together, we're gonna lay it, and this is these pens, these heat erase pens, all you gotta do is apply a little heat and they're kind of gone. So I'm gonna take my points of my cross and I'm gonna line it up with the dots that I drew, and I'm gonna get those things pinned down. My ironing board is kind of squishy, so that makes that easy. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Well, I want that under that. I want that underneath that. Do I have little tweezers? Okay. Now I'm going to line this guy up. My top one. So it's a little tedious, but it's actually, you know, it's not too bad. If you get going, we had to make, for a set of vestments, of Gothic vestments, we wanted a cross on our maniple, our stole, our chalice veil, and our burse, and that ended up with 6 crosses we were going to need to make. So we needed to cut out 12, because you need 2 of these pieces per cross, 12 pieces of galloon that was backed. So we did 12 8-inch pieces of galloon. I'm going to tuck here. Did I bring that tweezer over? I use my tweezers for everything. Okay, so you can use your long tweezers to kind of make sure that that little thing gets tucked under, that's how you want it to be here, and then like that everything looks straight here. See how nice that is? And you just kind of get it all set in place. I like that a lot. Let's tuck that. All right, and now I'm going to iron it down, because remember, the rest of that back has the sticky on it. So we're going to iron that down. A lot of people ask about, oh, is it safe to have higher heat on the silk? I mean, are you leaving it there forever? No. I use hot on silk for this sort of thing when I'm putting down galloon. And then as I go, I can pull these guys out and get more of the whole thing ironed down. Now, because we have that backing on there, you know, even if it doesn't stick to your fabric, like, it's not going to be bulletproof sticking to your fabric. Okay. But what's great is all these cross woven pieces are going to stick together really well. Like, that's not going to, your cross itself is not going to come apart. If you move this too much, this might come off. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin the 4 corners. We're not going to pin it up here where it's super thick though, because that could then distort our fabric underneath. So we're going to pin it where it's thin. I'm going to make sure it's nice and hot there. And we're making sure that this is centered, and then those were on our dots. Really nice. I'm getting into my ironing board there. Okay. Yeah, don't pin your stuff to your ironing board. That's annoying. Okay, I'm gonna put one here. And one here. Now, when it comes to sewing it, the sewing is a little more tedious because you've just got to get every edge. So, you know, you can start here and go up, over, down, and then all the way down to here. And then you cut it and you go here and you go up, over, all the way and down. And then you got to go back and you got to do that inside edge and you got to go up, over, and down. So there's just going to be a whole lot of, you know, starting and stopping with these stitches. There's no way to get around it, but look how pretty that is. I think we really nailed it.